your connection in Southern Oregon and Northern California. This is News 10 at 6.
Good evening, I'm Trish Close.
I'm Rick Tillery, thanks for joining us. Southern Oregon is getting some much needed rain tonight.
2's Jessica DeNova is live in Medford to explain why the rain may be good for water levels, but bad for areas burned by last year's wildfires. In tonight's top story at 6. Jessica?
Rick, Trish, as you can see, the rain out here has lightened up a little bit, but as our meteorologist Kevin Lawless will tell you a little later in the show, there is a lot of precipitation falling pretty fast, and the Oregon Department of Forestry says it's a little concerned because it hasn't seen this much rainfall fall at once in over a year. Brian Ballou with the Oregon Department of Forestry says there's a chance this rainstorm may be too much to handle by areas engulfed by flames during the wildfires of 2014.
We look at places that may be doing some slumping, some land movement, and the areas that we look at the most are the ones that were most recently burned.
According to Ballou, land under close watch for movement is on Bureau of Land Management property.
But we have keen interest in keeping the access good, since we're the ones who are going to be using those roads for firefighting next summer.
But ODF says those fires may be much easier to handle thanks to the sudden heavy precipitation.
And certainly if it would have stayed bone dry all the way through the winter, we would have really had a very active summer. We still may have a very active summer, but this is going to be beneficial in a number of ways.
The fire prevention specialist says though the water may help brush and grasses grow, it'll keep large pine trees alive and hard to burn. Also kept alive by this rainstorm, the tourism industry in Southern Oregon. Owner of the Black Bar Lodge, John James, says he counts on outfitters bringing tourists to his lodge from Southern California, Washington State, and the East Coast. That potential business counts on word of mouth when deciding whether or not to head out to the Rogue.
When they see the national news and they see that there's a drought or low water in the Northwest, it gets in their head and they think that, oh my gosh, who wants to go there if there's no water flows?
According to James, after a rough 2014 season with low water flows and wildfires, he's excited to hear things are looking up.
So I'm optimistic on it. Well, I've had a lot of good calls from my private hikers that like to hike the Rogue River Trail and rafters that are really doing the bulk of the booking now. And a lot of the information I'm hearing from some of the outfitters I'm already interacting with and getting their schedules, they're sounding pretty positive.
ODF says it won't be able to predict this summer's wildfires until about the beginning of April. Now, Rick and Trish, though the Rogue River is moving pretty fast, water is standing still on some parts of the road. For example, on Interstate 5 near milepost 27, there are reports of large puddles of water, and drivers are being asked to use caution. Covering your news live in Medford, Jessica DeNova, News 10.